Hi, so I'm going to explain in this video about architecture overview that so in Jambira application that we are following. So, so if you, I hope you have gone through some of the videos on Spring MVC, so and you have a basic knowledge on Spring MVC framework. So I'm not going in deep on that framework, but I'll explain uh, with one flow. So how that works. How MEC is actually implemented and how one flow is actually correlated with the MVC components, right? So the first thing, so you might know, so somebody might have explained like what is dispatcher servlet in Spring MVC. So every request that is coming in from the browser will actually go to the dispatcher servlet. So dispatcher servlet is actually provided by Spring framework. So if you see, so web.xml, uh, web.xml, there is some dispatcher servlet. Yeah, here. So this is the dispatcher servlet that is responsible for finding out the right controller for the given input request. Okay. So say for example, so I'll take this shop home.html. If a request is coming with shop home.html, say if we do something like this, so my debugging was running, so I'll just stop this guy. Okay. So if you hit this shop home.html in the browser, so our application, the dispatcher servlet will find out what is the right controller for for serving that request. Okay, so home.html, that is a request that coming in from the browser that has to be served by our application, right? So that application, so what controller will serve that request will be decided by dispatcher servlet. Okay, so here if you go here and see that dispatcher servlet takes the request and it uses handler mapping. Okay, handler mapping is one of the Java file. You don't have to worry about handler mapping and dispatcher servlet how it is working, but you just need to know like the concepts behind Spring MVC, right? Dispatcher servlet, it'll take the help of handler mapping and finds out the right controller for the request. So in this case, shop home.html, so it will find out that landing controller is the one that is mapped for this request URI. Okay, so in this here, if you have to, if we if you want to know how exactly it is working and all, there is like this is the API, Spring Framework Java classes. So if you debug those classes, and we cannot debug those classes anyway because they are in archive folder. We don't have source to debug, and so it is just the Java class. So we don't have to worry like how it is working. But for now, you have to know like why, who is responsible for finding out the right controller. Okay, so dispatcher servlet is actually responsible for finding out the right controller by using handler mapping uh, Java class. Okay, that is also the Spring Framework class, so you don't have to worry about that. So landing controller, so if you go here, so ideally, so the Spring will find out, but when we are working, we don't know like which controller has that the URI, right? So if you see here in generally, so if you see here shop UI, it has a shop and home.html. So finally, the value of this will be nothing but shop. So this is the final value of this request mapping. So whatever the request that is coming with this request URI will be served with this method, this controller method, right? So this is taken care of. The mapping and all everything will be taken care by our Spring framework, and and like this is the controller and this is the method like display hand. What is that? Display landing. method that will be executed for this request. Okay, so when you hit this request, okay, say enter, that is like nothing but hitting the request. Okay, so it will come over here, and so my application is running in debug mode, so that is why I have a breakpoint here, but I have a so line numbers mismatch because I have added some more. Okay, and so here it's coming, this is the place, it's so it keeps executing. So display landing the method the will get executed. So I'll go through all the objects or next time, but for now think that all these Java code inside the method display landing will get executed when you hit that request, right? Once that is done, so these are all, everything is populated. What actually happens, so the finally will populate the modal object. So this modal object will be used when you send the response back in JSP. The view will use this model, but I'll come to that point. But for now, say that the request, when you hit the request, the Spring framework will come over, will execute this display landing method. Okay, and once everything is executed, it will go here and pass over to the view. So what is the value that is written over here is nothing but if you just execute this method, this line, it is nothing but home page dot jambira. Okay, this is the final value. Or if you execute this one, this is the final homepage dot jambira is the return value for this method. So after executing display landing code, it would return to this page. Okay, this view, I'm sorry, this view. Okay, if you see this diagram, so after the first request comes in, handler mapping finds out like what controller will serve that request, and display landing is the method that will get executed. And after finding that this controller is responsible for building up the model and view objects. So I'll explain, like if you see the model and the view objects over here, so this is the model and view objects will be built by the controller. These okay, and yeah, view we don't see it over here, but that is like Spring takes care of using the view. Okay, and this is the view name. So homepage.jambira, that's what it is returning, right? Here homepage.jambira is the one that is returned over here. And so view name should have view resolver, that is again provided by the Spring framework, will find out the right view. What is view? I'll explain. View resolver will find out the right view um, for displaying the content in the browser. So view is nothing but what the content that we are displaying on the browser finally after serving the request. So this is the request, we hit that, and I just had a breakpoint, so it will keep going here, and then I'll just disable the debugging and say F8 again, so it will completely execute without stopping anywhere on the breakpoint. So I'm just want to see this. So this after serving the request, this page is loaded. So the view is this one. The view is nothing but the entire page is nothing but the view. The how this view is loaded is done by the view resolver, right? Where is this page? Okay, so view. So tiles.shop view resolver will take help of tileshop.xml or tiles admin.xml to find out the right view. Okay, so how does it find out? We'll see that tiles shop. So we know that view name is homepage.jambira, right? So if you go here, tiles shop.xml homepage, So homepage dot star, okay, this is the view name. Okay, it is actually mapped to structured layout.jsp. Okay, so we know that the homepage.jambira is actually mapped to structured layout.jsp, which actually uses the struts framework. Okay, so it will have structured layout.jsp will have head css, header scripts JSPs, header structure JSPs, and navigation bar script JSP, navigation structure dot whatever. All these JSPs will be rendered in structure layout.jsp. Okay, I guess I have explained about how these JSPs are loaded and served in structure layout.jsp. But I'll come back to that point again. So, and this structure layout.jsp with these JSPs will get executed, um, will be served in the view. Okay, and view will be written back to the dispatcher servlet. And this view is nothing but a structure layout.jsp. If you open that, Control C, Control Shift R, yeah, structure layout.jsp. It is it is a JSP page. The basics of JSP is nothing but it is a combination of static content and the dynamic content, which is nothing but the static content is nothing but head. This is a static content, and what is the dynamic content? Dynamic content is nothing but loading from the server dynamically, right? So this request scope is an object. It's an attribute that is a request attribute dynamically built up based on the request. Save. Okay, something like that. All these, this is a dynamic object, and this is a dynamic object, and this is again dynamic object, something like that. So all these dynamic objects will be loaded and used, and will be rendered is nothing but inserted into the JSP page, structure layout.jsp page, right? So structure layout.jsp, it uses these are the tiles. Actually, this structure layout.jsp, it uses styles framework. So if you know something about styles framework, the structure layout.jsp, it uses uh, header scripts JSP will be added here, uh, which is nothing but tile shop header scripts. Okay, so header scripts.jsp will be added in this place. And header, what is header? Sorry, what is header? Header is nothing but header structure.jsp. Header structure.jsp will be added over here. And the next one is navigation bar scripts. Navigation bar scripts is nothing but navigation bar scripts. Navigation nav bar scripts.jsp will be added over here. So all those JSPs will be added over here with the dynamic content, and present the final dynamic content to the user. Okay, so and then mobile menu, everything. So if you see, every attribute will have a respected JSP page to render. Okay, so if you want to see what's happening in header scripts.jsp, header scripts, you have to go here in header scripts and open this header scripts.jsp. Control C, Control Shift or Control Shift R. So this is the JSP. There it has nothing, so you don't have to worry. So I just made this structure. So if we want to add anything specific to one one flow, we can do that. But for now, understand that most of the time the body will be not scripts. Body will be index.jsp. This is the body of the JSP. So this will be rendered for that request, right? So if you see this. The page shop temperature sections. Is it in sections JSP? We have to see the path exactly. Yeah, it is pages shop templates. So this one is nothing but dynamically built up, and whatever it's coming in here will be taken as one. So yeah, it is nothing but it's not whatever it's coming here, but it is a dynamic automatically generated attribute. So think that it is Jambira for now. Okay, and laptop sales. So why it is laptop sales? Pages shop templates Jambira. Pages shop templates Jambira sections Jambira. Laptop sales. Oh, okay. It is laptop sales only, right? Oh, okay. Yeah, this is the page. It's rendered. If you see this here, somewhere it has laptop sales. Okay, so this is the laptop sales. So it is rendering the correct page, right? So this div is loaded from index.jsp, and then it loads this magic slideshow div, and it loads top banner section div, and it loads some sections here. All these JSPs will get rendered over in this JSP page. If you want to see what HTML finally, it will not be the JSP that is loaded over here. It is the final HTML that will be loaded. This HTML is actually generated by uh, the JSP code. Okay, whatever the JSP, it is nothing but HTML, static and dynamic content, right? So that the complete JSP with the static and dynamic content will get rendered over here. Finally it is a HTML response. Okay, and if you see that, so I just want to relate like how this JSP is rendering. So if you see that sections.jsp, this is a body, right? So um, the body will have all this JSP, all this code, right? Header banner. I just want to see where is header banner. This is the complete page, and header will have header container. This container, which will have div container, and which will have some other row. How this is so exactly where these divs are um, present, I will show you. The first thing is shopweiser. What is the structure layout.jsp will be rendered, right? So if you see this HTML, this is the final that is the JSP page, and this is the HTML, and it will have head, and which will have head, and if you see this head, it will have everything. So whatever the metadata and all, this is the head part of this JSP. If you see this head, it will be almost same, but this, what is the dynamic content, I'm not sure. I have to see what is the title. The title is Jambia. So what is here, this is a dynamic content. If you see that the request scope, page information, page title is a dynamically generated a value called Jambira. So uh, so meta, after meta, the title is nothing but Jambira, and this piece is loaded. And meta viewport is this one, and description is again it will load the dynamic content, which is nothing but viewport with content is something it's given here. This is coming from the server. So this everything is coming from the server for the given request. So fine, from the server is nothing but it is finally coming from a pay what is that from the database. Somewhere it is stored, and some of one or other tables it will be stored. So that dynamic content will be rendered over here when we serve that view. Okay, and something like this store name is nothing but here is Jambira. I'm keeping author and author for store name. Okay, author should be different, but it's fine. Jambira is what we are using, and after that, in the head section, what we are trying to do is inserting the head CSS. Head CSS is nothing but if you go here, head CSS is nothing but head CSS.jsp. So you have to open that head.css.jsp. Okay, this page, the complete page, will be rendered after that. Okay, which is nothing but meta character. All this piece of code will be rendered over here. So that's what is happening here. Oh, import description author. Okay, all these things are rendered. Maybe we need to redesign, like we should not have many meta tags with same same keys and all, same names. So we may need to delete from one place, but this is how it is happening. So header css will be loaded. Okay, like that, after loading head css, go back to structure layout.jsp. So head will be closed. Okay, head is closed. So what it means is that here head css will be loaded. So all the style sheets, head css is nothing but the style sheets that are used for this page are all loaded here. Okay, so yeah, so after head is built, head is constructed. Okay, and then body. So after head is constructed, body started. The body will have the same class and all. There is no dynamic content, so obviously it will take the same body, div. So this is the body of the page, right? So if you see, if you mouse over on anything, so it is selecting the every page. So it means that the body will have the complete page code, HTML code, right? And then it has this div. This is a big div tag that actually rendering the page. And after that, and this has a sale of a box. So this sale of a box is somewhere here in dev. Okay, so if you see this, we are relating to this one, right? Sale of a box and the sale of a left. All these the images will get loaded, and after that, div. Okay, after div, this is the div. Sale of a left, sale of a right, left and right, left, right. Okay, these divs are loaded, and after div there is one other insert. So we're inserting some attribute, which is nothing but a header scripts.jsp. If you see this mapping, you will see this here, right? Tiles shop.jsp. Here header scripts will have that one, right? And then tiles insert attribute, or this will be inserted. If you see, after closing this, the header will be loaded. This header scripts.jsp. Okay, this the entire JSP is in there's nothing actually. This will not get loaded because it is not a HTML generated uh, code. It will be something like in Java import Java dot util dot string or something like that. So there's not much code here. So that piece will get loaded in header section, and after header is loaded, sorry, header scripts is loaded, and header will be loaded. Header dot JSP. Okay, yeah, you have to see the paths. So there will be duplicate files, the same files in different folders, so we have to observe the paths are correct always. And these scripts will be loaded in this space, in this area. Okay, header container. I think this is header scripts. This is header only, right? Header container. Yeah, so this header will be loaded by this JSP page. This header, complete header section will be loaded by header.jsp, right? So header section is nothing but here. If you go here, header, so whatever is selected here, right, the blue highlighted section is loaded by this JSP page, header.jsp page. Okay, so but header, how is it loaded? It has loaded all this content and request that content, get context path, everything with the dynamic content, some dynamic content if the user is already logged in. user is already logged in, it will say that welcome, something like that. Welcome Narayan or to Jambira, a price comparison place and all. It will show because this is a dynamically constructed object that will be displayed. So right now I have not logged in, so I'm not seeing that it's not going in this condition, and it will go somewhere else, like maybe here. Welcome to Jambira. No, maybe here it's welcome. No, welcome. Where is the other one? Maybe it's not satisfying any conditions, so it's going out somewhere, like one or other condition is not no condition is satisfied, so it is not displaying welcome message. Okay, yeah. So after that, okay, this header section is loaded. And then what is that? Navigation bar is nothing but where we display all the categories here. So this complete JSP, this complete section is loaded by navbar, obviously the navbar.jsp. So navbar scripts and navbar.jsp. After header, it is navbar scripts.jsp and then navbar. Okay. So if you go here, navbar scripts, what is navbar scripts.jsp? So now bar scripts has nothing, so you don't have to worry about that. So again, now bar.jsp. So this piece, this complete code will be rendered over here after header, right? So if you see this, the container will have these are all scripts, so you can ignore that and go back here, and this is the now JSP will get loaded, right? So this is JSP. Okay, and now and this section, okay, this section will be loaded by navbar.jsp. So complete this html, so complete this JSP with dynamic content, and the static html will get rendered over here, and this section will be displayed, will be rendered. Okay, after that, header banner. So header banner, it's not, so this is what the selected portion will be rendered by header banner will be rendered by body.jsp. Body scripts, navigation bar scripts over, navigation bar over. Does it have header bar also? No. Okay. Now after now, there is header banner. What is that? Body scripts, I guess. Body scripts. No, so it has nothing, so it will not have anything. And then body. So here in this case, body is in body is nothing but what JSP. Where is the structure now? Not structure, tiles shop. Body is nothing but index.jsp. So the complete index.jsp, this piece, so everything like header banner, magic slideshow div, and top banner section div, and some sections like all this code HTML with the dynamic content will get loaded after navigation section, and then this will be loaded. And so this is nothing but the header banner, magic slideshow, top banner section, and then section. Final section is nothing but if you select this, if you mouse over this one, you'll know like what part of. So this is, yeah. So this is slide bar. So sometimes it gives. This is a magic slideshow. It's nothing but here we have a slideshow, right? This slideshow is actually loaded by this div tag. Okay, and after that, top banner section. So what I'm saying is, every code that is rendered on on HTML page is actually rendered by some JSP with the HTML and the dynamic content that we have defined in those JSP pages, right? Yeah, that's how it. And those after that, the every JSP page will be every tile get inserted, and every JSP page will be rendered in a structure layout.jsp, and will serve back to the um, will be served and presented it to the browser. So if you go back and see this the flow, I mean architecture overview diagram, so you will see that after view resolver finds out that which is the which is the JSP, a structure layout.jsp, and how that structure layout.jsp will be uh, populated using that static content and the dynamic content. The final HTML response will go back and display it in the browser. So that's how the request will be served. So if so just I'll just walk through one more time with the example. So when we hit this guy, so I'm running in debug mode, so but I switched off, I disabled, so I'll run one more time. Okay, so it's running now for me. uh, okay. Okay, so this is the landing controller. So when I hit this guy, home.html, because it will stop me there, because I have a debugging, yeah, I have a breakpoint over here, and so it will stop over here. So the request is coming with this one, and once that is coming, um, so the request.get attribute of merchant store, what store it is. It is a default store. Okay, so for now find out that it is a default store that we are running this application for. And then request attribute link code. If I want to see anything, you just go here and write, I mean just put the mouse, put the cursor on, and it will show what is the value of that one. So here if I see a home link code is nothing but home. Okay, so we are just setting the attributes in the request. So this request will be passed to somewhere else. I don't think this will be used, or maybe in the JSP it will be used. So if we set some attributes uh, in the request, those attributes will be available on JSP page to render. So I was explaining that dynamic content is there in one of the JSPs, right? So those JSPs can use that. If you want to print, say for example, what page, if you want to print in here, what page is in the request, what page is the request serving for, we can just say that request attribute just print in JSP see out request scope, something like this. We have seen something like this, right? So we just go here, request scope dot whatever, what is this, request of dot home link code, sorry, link code. Okay, if you say link code, it will actually no, prints this home, the value is home, right? It works like attribute setting and retrieving, getting attributes is nothing but a map kind of. It works like a map, and if you get that attribute, you will have a value like a home. Okay, after that is done. Okay. Mm, so that's how we display this attribute in JSP page, but for now we can ignore that. And so over here, what this is a service layer. Okay, so I was talking about earlier about the service layer, right? So how this service, this is nothing but again this is a Spring, the framework. But so this again, this the diagram is downloaded by from other website. So all these the blue colored uh, rectangles are classes, I can say, are actually provided by Spring framework. And these are all where we actually develop these files, like controller. Say for example, landing controller is one we develop, and the service layer is nothing but there are different service layers. So this landing controller uses different services. So over here it is content service, and if you go down somewhere, we used some other service, not so this one, category service, and the product service. So all these services will be used. And if you see the service, the each service will use a repository. Okay, so it will use the JPA access layer, and the repository. Each service will have a uh, repository DAO. Okay, DAO classes. If I go here, say for example, content service dot get peg code, uh, get by code, control and mouse over. Don't click anything. Control and mouse over. Open implementation, which takes you to the implementation class for that get by code. So I'll generally go here and debug, and here again control, mouse over and click on open implementation. This is where where the DAO method, right? So if I say F8 and we have a breakpoint here, so it is stopping, and if I say F8 here, we have a breakpoint, so that's it's stopping, and then we don't have to do F8, and we can say F6 to go to the next line. uh, okay, next line. So what it is doing, it is actually getting the content object. So these are all the content objects. So each and every object will have an associated database table. So if you see this, the content will have some content related tables, maybe content, I don't know, but a content table would be there. But this q content, and this is if you see query, it has nothing. It has not built up what is the query that needs to be executed, and this is where we are building the query, jpa query, jpql query, I can say that. And once so let me see how that query is. So it is built up now, so it is executed. So this is nothing but select. This is the final query that will be executed uh, by Spring. It is not the same database query, but it is almost similar. JPA query, we can say that JPA query, and these are the arguments that we pass. So generally one right here, query. So this one, question mark one, is nothing but the first argument that is passing in here, which is nothing but language.id. If you want to see that value, just go here. You can say right click, inspect. Okay, so it will give what is the value of this one. Language.getID will give one is the value, and store.id, again it is one, and code is nothing but an object, which is an object, right, or string. It's a string, uh, which is nothing but an object, but the string with the landing page. Okay, so this is how we are constructing the query, and getting the results from that query. Okay, so if the result is empty because some of we don't have anything for that, the language one, store one, for this code, there is no content for that. So we're just ignoring that. If you see that, we were here, get content service, get by code went here, and it called the DAO class get by code, and DAO, it resulted nothing, and so we went back again, and back again, there is nothing after this. So it will go back here, and after that content is empty because it is nothing, it is returning nothing. And after that, this the breadcrumb item is built up, and we are setting up. The breadcrumb item is nothing but uh, so if you go somewhere in any category page or something like that, so this is what breadcrumb. Okay, home electronics, mobile Samsung, this is what it is building up. Okay, so that will be later used, or on home page we are not using. Okay, oh my god, this is okay. And after this breadcrumb, we're populating that object. Once that is done, we are setting something in the session. Also, this breadcrumb will be set in the session. So next, any request will be hand will can use this breadcrumb to display that breadcrumbs that I showed. Okay, and if the content is not null, we are doing something. But in this case, it is null, so we don't have to worry. And yeah, come over here, populator. We're populating this, and again one we are using a product relationship service get by type, which will have the similar flow, which will have a DAO get by type, and then DAO method will have something like oh, QDSL cannot interpret. So it is nothing but a query language again. This time we are using HQL. Okay, so after no, we are building the query, setting the parameters, executing that, and finding out the relations. This is okay, and go back. This is nothing but we are trying to find the featured items, and these are all the service method. This is a service method that gives the featured items. If we set up something, we'll get some results, but we don't have any featured items for now, and that is why it will also no returns null. Featured items means so some special items are featuring items. Okay, okay. So if I don't know, and then oh, okay, because I hit this request one more time, it is coming back again and executing this. So let me finish and again come back. Okay, so it is served and response is sent back. And let me enable again hit. So okay, and then going back here, so like that get content service, content will be served. We went through this one before, and breadcrumb will be populated here. Content is not null, it will not be served here. We were here actually, so get by type, which doesn't have. Okay, let me have a breakpoint after this. Oh, it has. Okay, so relationships, there is no relationship, there are no featured items, so that's why it will go. And featured items, we are setting this model object, we are populating the model object, and featured items will be empty in this case. If you want, if you're trying to display the featured items in the JSP, it will be empty and it will not get displayed. Okay, so for now we are fine, we don't need featured items. And here what is that, home page only, category service by name. So what we are doing here, this is more kind of important, like category service and product service are the service methods we use, service classes we use to display and build the category and product related objects. Okay, so what we are trying to do, get by name. What do you mean like by name? The categories of name home page only will be written over here. Okay, so if you go over here, and in this method we'll again have the DAO class, and DAO will have the implementation very similar to the other the DAO implementations. The query is nothing but here, and I'll go. So here DAO, after that get by name, category DAO service IMPL will come over here. Query. Okay, and query has nothing, and we are building up the query. I'm using more breakpoints, so I'm using F8. If I don't have any breakpoint here, it won't stop. So I have to use step over. Step over will have this is the query is nothing but something like this will be there. Select category from category, left join, all this will be constructed and given back. These are all the dynamic, I mean arguments that we passed here, which is nothing but one. Okay. So what are the categories that are returned? There is one category, I guess, that is returned. Okay, and that category object will be handed over here. So home page only, and then come back here. So categories this time, the category is not null and not empty, and product list. So for that category, this ideas is nothing but empty. Okay, ideas is nothing but the category ID. Okay, first thing is we this for this category ID, we're trying to get the products. Okay, for this ideas, which is nothing but 951 is the category ID. We're trying to get the products for that category ID. Again, this is a product service which has the get products method, which will, you can guess that it is again will have DAO product list by categories, or some we can name anything we want. And this the DAO method will have the similar the signature, like the query will be built up first, and then query will get executed, and the final results will be written here. I'll put a breakpoint here and say F8. See here, oh, there are no products in that category, so we just so all these need to be populated. So when we are working towards, once that is done, maybe I did not have any breakpoints, and the request will be served. Where is the landing controller? So this is one place where you can okay, landing controller. After this is done, I should have put some breakpoint, and the model object will get populated with whatever the category name, and this model will be used. And finally, as I explained earlier, it will be sent to the view resolver to resolve this homepage dot jambira, which is nothing but structural layout dot JSP, with all those JSPs as I explained earlier will get served. So structural layout dot JSP will be served with the objects that are built here. So model will have home page only, right? This all these objects, all this model object will be used in the JSP, uh, right, in the JSP, and will the content will get displayed over here, right? That's how this works. Uh, Let me go through this guy. Okay. So this is a second diagram. So dispatches outlet. It explains almost the same way. The Spring Framework uses handler mapping handler adapter to find out the right controller for the given request URI. Okay. After finding out the right controller, the controller generally uses the service layer uh, to execute the business logic. This service layer, which typically use the DAO layer, the data access layer. So this data access layer will hit the database using a JPA, JPSDL, or the any query language to hit the database and return the response back, return the results back to the repository, and the repository results will go back to the service, and service results will go back to the controller, and will finally after controller will send the results to the view name, which is nothing but as I explained here, in the view name is nothing but here view name is homepage.jambira, sorry, and that view name will be loaded using the view resolver. The view resolver will find out the right view for that view name, which is nothing but structural layout.jsp in this case. There are other views which uses catalog layout.jsp, and the structural layout.jsp will be sent back to the dispatcher servlet with all the populated model objects. So the model object is all constructed in the uh, controller here. In this controller, we are populating the model object and sending back the model to the view. So that view will use this model object to render the page, and finally we load this page, right? So this structure of the page is nothing but a structure layout for .jsp for now, but some other JSP pages uses catalog layout.jsp, and but finally we want to have everything structure layout.jsp, and we don't want any catalog layout.jsps. I started building up this structure layout.jsp before actually the framework that is given by Shopweiser. Is this tile shop? Okay, so this one home page is using structure layout.jsp. Product is using structure layout.jsp, and these are all commented. And what is next? Registration uses structure layout.jsp, and login uses structure layout.jsp. Sitemap, the sitemap uses catalog layout.jsp, and this has to go. Review has to use catalog layout.jsp. Search is using now catalog layout.jsp. All these different pages have different structure, different what do you call views. We can say we have only two views for now: structure layout.jsp and catalog layout.jsp. And say for example, in this case it is homepage start, and that's why it is loading. And uh, say if some other request is coming for a product page, okay, it is using the same structure layout.jsp, but why it will give a different page? Because if there is a view name is a product.star, it will use the structure layout.jsp, but it uses different JSPs. If you see the body, mostly body will be different, and other parts of the page will be same mostly. Header, navigation bar, and all will be same, but the body, if I click on any product, uh, so this is a category, and I'll go through this guy again. One other one, shop category Samsung HTML, right? So I don't know which controller will will be mapped to this guy. So I generally do something like this: Control C, go here, search file, Control C. It will be in mostly controller.java. Okay, star Java we can say. So it will find out like what controller has that mapping. I don't use Shopweiser, don't use that because it will not be used. If you see here, this mark is not good for debugging. So it is not in the class path and build path. So it won't be used for build path. So always use uh, from SM shop. Okay. If you go here, either it will hit this guy or this guy. So if I want to know, so this is the only one. I have a breakpoint here. I have a breakpoint here. This is 145, 120. Okay, two different methods with the ref and all. The one is without ref. So probably it will hit this guy. And if I hit this shop category Samsung HTML, it will hit this controller, and this method will get executed. This method will nothing but, again, it is very similar flow. So every controller, every request will be handled in the same way. So Spring MVC is designed in such a way that first it will come to the controller, then service, and then DAO, and then it will hit the database and sends the response back, and the same way it will be served. And when it comes over here, finally, after executing all these code lines of code, coming down, okay, this is where is the method ending. So this is nothing but category and category dot store template. It is nothing but jambira. You'll find out that. So final value is category dot jambira. So that category dot jambira, if you go here, category category dot, so it is commented. Where is the other one? So whatever category dot, it will use catalog layout dot JSP. It is not using structure layout dot JSP. So if we are not using structure layout dot JSP, it has something, icons are not displayed, and the page is not so structured, but it is working okay. So for now we are good, but I just want to say that this category JSP will use this catalog layout dot JSP, which will have all this header JSP, navigation bar, category.jsp, footer.jsp. All these JSPs will be loaded and embedded in catalog layout JSP, and this the final content will be rendered when we hit this guy. Okay, when we hit that guy, all this dynamic content, say Samsung Galaxy J7, everything is pulled up from the database. All that the data is populated and put it in the model object. That model object will be used in catalog JSP. Okay, mostly in this JSP, we say, for example, I'll open this guy. So category.jsp, if you see this category JSP, this is a JavaScript function that renders all the dynamic content. So if you see this, so the dynamic content will be rendered, but I don't want to go and confuse more on this for now. Okay, so all the content will be served, will be rendered and displayed in the category page. Okay, yeah. um, what else? Mm, okay, this is done. Okay, okay, I think that's all for now. I Yeah, I know it's going fast. So if you are not following this video, maybe you can slow down and listen to this video one other time, if not understanding one other time, if not understanding one other time. But so whatever I'm saying, at least it should make sense, like how everything is working as a flow. And I might ask you to write down the steps for the flow again. Okay, so I might ask you a little later, like mm, what is the flow, how is it, how one request is serving other one, or how one request is served by the application, um, and all. So yeah, keep just listen to the video. I'm sure you need to listen to this video at least 2 times or 3 times. So just listen, and it'll be very helpful. If you understand this flow, I guess you're able to work, uh, you're able to work on other issues and all. But there will be a lot of other things no need to know. But to get started, this is the flow everyone needs to understand. Okay. Yep. Thank you so much. Yeah, let me know for any questions. uh, Thank you.